Hello and welcome to CATSweek. I'm Annalise Poorman. At their meeting on February 22nd, the Bloomington Board of Zoning Appeals heard a petition for a property on East Hillside Drive. Case manager Eric Grulich walked through the petition.
So this is a request for Adam and Ellen Rodke for a property that they own at 1200 East Hillside Drive. The petitioners are here tonight to request a variance from the maximum allowed driveway width and number of drive cuts allowed to allow for a new drive cut in the residential medium lot R2 zoning district. So this is for a property at the southeast corner of Hillside and Olive. It is owned single-family residential medium lot, and has been developed with a single-family lot with a drive cut on Hillside Drive to the north and a drive cut on Olive to the west. The drive cut kind of spans between the two streets in a very unique and awkward arrangement. And so the city is coming forward with some improvements to the intersection of Hillside and Olive that will substantially alter and remove a lot of the parking that is immediately adjacent to this property. So the petitioners have explored different ways to secure at least one more parking space. There's very limited right-of-way along Olive Street between the building and the right-of-way line. In order for them to expand the driveway that they have now would not be possible without placing more of that parking within the right-of-way. So the intersection improvements would remove the area where the asphalt is and where the truck is parked now, and reduce it to just the concrete drive cut that is there. They would be widening that intersection to allow for a dedicated turn lane. It's only about 1 lane wide now, as well as installing new pedestrian crossing improvements, crosswalks, as well as signals for pedestrian, push-button access for lighting there to help promote safe access across Hillside Drive.
Grulich continued to outline the details of the request, saying that the staff recommends approval.
So as I mentioned, the petitioners have explored different possibilities to create one more parking space. The property is certainly unique in the width of the property, but more specifically, how much land is there between the building and the street. It's only about 12 feet deep between the deck and the right-of-way line. As I mentioned, we are removing all of the parking along the Hillside Drive access, so that drive cut is being removed. So they do still have the concrete driveway that is in front of that garage that I showed previously. However, the depth of that and the width doesn't allow for that to be widened. So they are requesting to create one parallel parking space that is immediately adjacent to Olive Street. This would be the best arrangement that would guarantee or get one more parking space. It would not create another drive cut on Hillside. In fact, this petition would be removing that drive cut on Hillside Drive and would allow them to kind of make use of the property. There is a lot of grade change that you can see in that street view image with the retaining wall, and the grade change kind of happens. Olive Street goes up in elevation as you go north. And so the parallel space was the best arrangement that would minimize impacts to the property, still allow for one more drive on the property, so there would be a maximum of 2 on this property, which is certainly typical and customary for single-family use. And so they're requesting the variance to allow for 2 drive cuts because property is only allowed 1 drive cut that would be 18 feet wide. So they're requesting the variance to allow 2 drive cuts and for that width to be more than the 18 feet. So this is to accommodate the existing drive cut that's about 10 feet wide plus the 22 foot that would be proposed for the new parallel space. So with this, we do make findings in our staff report. We do not find that this approval will be injurious to the public health, safety, morals. Conversely, it would be increasing that because we are removing a drive cut from Hillside, placing it on the lower classified street. So this would improve driver safety. We do not find any adverse impacts on the use and value adjacent to the area. It's still a single-family use. The number of drive cuts or the number of parking spaces that are allowed would still be 2, which is customary for a single-family residence. And then the unique conditions that are peculiar to the property in question. We do find that there are several. One is the lack of right-of-way or the space between the building and the right-of-way line. The topography along here that does not allow for any new spaces to be created within this property, and working with the existing topography there, and that it could not be widened because there's just not enough frontage on Hillside Drive in order to create any new spaces there. So we do find several conditions that are peculiar to the property that do present practical difficulty. And so with that, we are recommending approval of this variance request with the one condition that is listed in staff's report, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Petitioner Ellen Rodkey explained why she and her husband are making this request for a variance.
Adam and I have lived in this home since 2007. It's our primary residence, and with the proposed work for the Weatherstone Hawthorne Greenway and then how that then impacts that intersection, we're just hoping that we can find a way to get that second parking space. It's not uncommon to have 2 cars for a single family home, especially in Bloomington, and so just happy to answer any questions, but thanks for considering the request.
The board approved the petition unanimously. During the February 21st meeting of the Monroe County Public Library Board of Trustees, Director Greer Carson provided his monthly report touching on the temporary closure of the Southwest Branch. The closure is due to extreme cold temperatures in January when an exhaust vent froze overnight, causing large amounts of water to be distributed to about 1/3 of the Southwest Branch, according to the library's website.
We are currently in the midst of a long insurance investigation involving all parties. That's MCPL, Strasser Construction, Matthew Architects, numerous subcontractors, all from the original branch construction project. Our insurance subrogation reps have been on site regularly since late January and are working with us and our contractors and subs to make their final determination as to the claim. It has been a long 5 weeks so far, but my understanding is that with a claim this large, this is typical pace of work, and everything hinges on what our claim will ultimately cover. Once we get approval from insurance, we will engage our restoration company and immediately order replacement flooring and other materials so that we can begin work as soon as the claim is finalized. So for the time being, we have posted an interim public message asking for everyone's continued patience as we work to complete the claim process and begin restoration. In the meantime, our Southwest staff continue to work across the system alongside peers and other departments and branches, focusing on program planning and execution, community partnership development, and continuing desk shifts and collection maintenance work. This week, they began boxing and storing the Southwest collection so as to clear the main floor at the branch and thereby expedite the reflooring work, which is soon to come. And as of this afternoon, our Southwest team, with the help from numerous public services and leadership staff, have actually completed the boxing and storing of the entire Southwest collection. So the second we're ready to get rolling with restoration, they can move unimpeded. And the Southwest collection is now officially closed to the public in terms of placing holds, which is okay because it's pretty much a duplicate collection, and patrons have been instructed to use downtown Ellettsville or Outreach for holds pickup. And about an hour ago, I received some good news from insurance that they are approving the ordering of the replacement materials and signing on with our restoration company right now, so we can get that ball rolling as of tomorrow morning. So we're moving as fast as we can. But it's not a fast train. And we will have a soft commitment as to a date for reopening once we have restoration nailed down and the materials ordered.
Board Secretary Kari Essery asked whether the entire floor was damaged. Carson responded.
Was the entire floor damaged?
No, but enough of the floor was damaged that it's unlikely we're going to get the product that matches exactly like, the same dye lot and all of that. And if we have a discrepancy in color or tone, then we might as well do the whole floor. And if insurance covers the whole floor, then we're going to do the whole floor.
Board trustee Catherine Lozer said that she missed last month's meeting and was unclear on what happened to cause the water damage. Carson explained the series of events that caused the damage to the Southwest Branch.
What actually happened? I mean,
So
where is the flaw in the system that was to protect
The flaw in the system was a damper on the roof, which is part of the HVAC system that lets out air and lets in air. It froze in the open position after a lot of rain, followed by plummeting temperatures to something like 30+ degrees over a 24-hour period. It froze in the open position, let too much cold air into the HVAC system. When the boiler kicked on, cold air met the hot, busted a pipe, and then we had water drain down into the lounge area.
Was that considered a unique thing to happen, a fluke to happen, or was it a flaw in the whole system? Or
That is part of what they're going to determine. That's what their investigation is about, yeah.
Do you have a sense that people are pointing fingers to say it was this person's, or this contractor's? No?
Not
Okay.
as much as we worried, but we'll know when we get to, we have a meeting next week for some further investigation in the HVAC system and the drywall, and at that point, we may get a sense that somebody's going to say it's an insurance claim and someone else is going to say it's warranty and it's a faulty product or faulty installation. So we're coming up on that point pretty soon. But so far, all of the parties have been working together really well.
So it's highly unlikely that we would have to suffer any of the cost.
Correct.
Good.
But it's a long time being closed with our precious new building, so.
An update on the library's website says the MCPL team is working hard to determine the needed repairs, as well as a possible reopening date. No specific date is given at this time. At the Monroe County Redevelopment Commission meeting on February 21st, County Attorney Jeff Cockrell gave a presentation on an affordable housing project and the potential residential TIF district that could be created to help support it.
Maybe I'll give a little background. When we were looking at ARPA funds and their use, one of the ideas that was explored, and the county commissioners and county councils
Jeff, explain what ARPA funds are for, 'cause people might not know that.
ARPA is the American Rescue Plan Act funds, and those are funds that the county received a considerable amount, in the neighborhood of $28 million.
Wow.
That is to be utilized for pandemic and pandemic-related expenses, including with those are things that impacted communities, impacted demographics, and those kind of things.
That's countywide.
It's countywide. City received a share, Ellisville received a share, every county in Indiana received a share.
Okay.
But they were all different amounts,
Okay.
So as
Well, I just want to make clear, if anybody's listening, we might not know what we're talking about.
acronyms are useful, but sometimes overused.
That's right.
So I understand.
Okay.
So discussions with the county council and the county commissioners, they allocated up to $3.5 million. They said, go find us a project. We want to do an affordable housing project. And so we had we being staff had narrowed down to about 5 or 6 different projects. And we had an executive session with the council and the commissioners to say, hey, which one of these do we want to do? At that point in time, we had anticipated having to purchase property in order to make this happen. And so as I go through this, I'll explain how we're off a little bit from that original assumption. So the page that's on the screen is a aerial of the area we're looking at. It's the hashed marked area just off Old State Road 37. It contains approximately 11 acres. If you look at this to the west is the addition that Tom Weininger's groups, I always call it SEMO, but I'm SOMO. SOMO, and then it's close to the Clear Creek Elementary School. And so just north on this map would be the Kroger off South Walnut Street. And so this is the project that the council and the commissioners wanted us to pursue. I think the biggest reason they really like this project is because there's an existing home on the site that we are trying to work with local operators to convert into a daycare facility. So that's something that was different from this one than what we were looking at with some of the other sites.
Commissioner Richard Martin mentioned that a similar development had been denied and asked if this housing project was going to be located in a similar area. Commissioner Randy Cassidy said that the prior development was on land that was zoned for single-family homes and did not get approval to have the paired patio housing.
There was, somewhere in this area, another petition that included a lot of these paired homes and quints and quads that seemed not to get accepted. And they had to end up going back to single-family homes. Is that in an area similar to this?
That area is, and I think it's the SOMO? I think.
No, that would, yeah, SOMO, which is just to the, here's the area we're talking here. Make sure I got this right. Okay, yeah, here's the area we're at. This is SOMO, which is at the intersection of that road and Rogers. This area, this is College Drive here. This area here, SOMO went through and they're I think they're a 92 lot subdivision with single-family homes that are selling somewhere between the 400s and 500,000s. He had petitioned for that to end up being a paired patio type situation at the time.
Right.
And that was turned down, and he's went back and did the by right 92 units.
So the question is, what gives us the confidence that we could do another paired patio project in the same area and not get the same result?
Cockrell explained that this land is already properly zoned for this number of units, rather than single-family residences.
I think that this is already zoned for this many units, right? This is not adding units that couldn't currently be put there with the current zoning.
My impression was the other one was current zone too.
The other one had to go through and be it was doubling the unit count total.
Martin asked for clarification on what the Redevelopment Commission's role in this project would be moving forward. Cockrell outlined the job of the Redevelopment Commission for the project is to decide whether or not a TIF district would be beneficial to help fund more infrastructure to entice residents to move to the area.
So what is the role of the Redevelopment Commission in this project?
I guess the role of the Redevelopment Commission in this project is to look at this area to see if there are needs in this area that the increment from a residential TIF could help increase the available, habitable, affordable housing and make the housing more attractive. And that would include kind of your standard infrastructure ideas. It could also include kind of some of these other things we're talking about with homeowner down payment assistance and residential maintenance assistance, those kind of concepts.
Martin suggested that they schedule a meeting with the planning department to ascertain whether or not a TIF district in the area would be feasible and beneficial.
From our perspective, we need to look at a broader area to see if creating a residential TIF of significant size is a viable thing to do here. That sounds like that's what we need to do. Okay. So we then would have to work with the planning staff to look at what kind of an area might be suitable. That seems like the next step.
The next Monroe County Redevelopment Commission meeting will be held on March 20th. At their February 21st meeting, the Monroe County Commissioners approved a motion to grant a memorandum of understanding with Hoosier Hills Food Bank to use the Will Detmer Park garden area for farming and public education until December of 2029. Hoosier Hills Food Bank has been using the area since 2010 for growing and distribution of free produce to their hunger relief programs. Parks and Recreation Director Callie Whitmer spoke positively about the past years of collaboration.
We've had a partnership since 2010. We have what Will Detmer Park Gardens. They garden a portion of it. They pay for their own water for that portion. And we also help them out with a shed and a tractor and training. And we also do educational programs with them. So it's a win-win for everyone. And it gives us extra eyes in the park.
Yeah. Nice. Excellent.
The Will Detmer Park Garden uses organic methods to grow their produce to promote a healthy ecosystem for the surrounding plants, animals, and people. Commissioner Lee Jones asked if the Hoosier Hills Food Bank was advertising their organic status, since it could cause issues.
If you're a commercial grower, if you sell more than a certain amount, then you must be certified. But since this isn't commercial growing, I really don't know how it would apply to you.
I don't either. I can work with county legal and Julio and just see what they've been doing.
Yeah.
Commissioner Julie Thomas responded that she does not think that the Hoosier Hills Food Bank has been advertising organic status, but it might be something people appreciate.
The distributions haven't specifically noted organic or not, and I'm not sure, if that answers your question, but I think it's worth looking into.
Yeah.
And
The commissioners approved the motion unanimously. At the Richland Bean Blossom School Board meeting on February 19th, Superintendent Dr. Jerry Sanders announced a new feature to the school corporation's website that gives community members the ability to donate their money, materials, or time to the schools. Council member Angie Jacobs made a comment about the new website feature.
Donations, being able to do that is amazing because, I have people that will, in the community will call and say, do you know what they need? Do you know that? So I love that because now I can give them an area, this is where you need to go, because they just don't know what, where, how can they help, or, do it anonymously. That's a lot of it. And when we get these donations in, it does so much for our students, and we just really appreciate it. So thank you, and thank you to everyone for everything you do for us.
Anyone interested in more information about the donation feature can go to rbbschools.net under the Community tab to find the donation page. And that is all for CATSweek. Thank you for joining us. For CATS and WFHB, I'm Annalise Poorman.
Do you know that thousands of children go without school supplies every day? Teachers Warehouse is a 100% volunteer-powered organization. We service the educational and creative needs of students in Monroe, Brown, Greene, Lawrence, and Owen counties by distributing school supplies free to the teachers. Teachers Warehouse is composed of 7 rooms filled with books, pencils, paper, and even tools to motivate students. If it's in a classroom, we'll supply it. To donate new or gently used school supplies or volunteer, give us a call at 812-929-7522 or email us at contact@teacherswarehouse.net.